Hello, welcome back to Bioclass Bites. In this video, we are going to talk about estuarine and marine biomes. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like and share this video. So in the previous video, we talked about freshwater biomes, but in this video, we'll focus on estuarine and marine biomes. What is an estuary? So, an estuary is an area where fresh water meets with salt water, where streams or rivers merge with the ocean or with the sea. So, this is a mixing of water, fresh and salt water, with such different salt concentrations, and this creates a very interesting and unique ecosystem. So this includes microflora such as algae and macroflora. So micro, small, macro, small enough that you have to use a microscope. Macro, you can see it with your naked eye. So microflora such as algae and macroflora such as seaweeds, marsh grasses, and mangrove trees, okay, are found in estuaries. Okay? Estuaries support a diverse fauna, including varieties of worms, oysters, crabs, and waterfowl. These are considered biomes that occur where a source of fresh water, such as rivers and streams, meets the ocean. So both fresh and salt water are found in the estuary, and this creates what we said a while ago, a very unique ecosystem, diluted or brackish salt water. Okay, mixing of fresh and salt water results into brackish salt water. Estuaries also form protected areas where many of the young offspring of crustacean, mollusks, and fish begin their lives. Okay, so estuaries are technically considered fish nurseries. This is where fish lay their eggs and then they wait until they grow before they go into the open sea. So these are images about estuarines. So you have the estuary mouth. So as you can see here, a river that opens up into the sea. Okay. So these are examples of those macroflora that can grow on estuarine waters. Mangroves, red mangroves. So they have stilt-like or they have very, very tall roots that can support the trees, and animals live in complex root systems of this mangrove forests. So this one is found in Florida Biscayne National Park. So these are more images. So you find here mangrove roots. Okay, so from this mangrove forests, wetlands and tidal streams that eventually opens up into the sea. Okay, and a salt marsh. We have partially mentioned this in wetlands because again, estuaries are very interesting. They include the merging of fresh water and salt water. So this one is a salt marsh in South Carolina. To learn more about estuaries, I recommend that you watch this video entitled "What is an estuary?" I'll provide the link in the description below. And you visit this page from National Geographic about estuaries, again linked in the description below. We have here another image of an estuary. So as you can see, these are rivers that empty out into the sea. So this area where fresh water and salt water meet, we call it the estuary or an estuary. So again, an estuary is a transition between river and sea. Sea water flows up during rising tide and flows down during falling tide. The chemical environment has a variation in their salinity. Okay, depends on the rise and fall of tides. This includes flow patterns of the rivers, okay, combined with the sediments coming from the river and the tidal waters coming from the sea. Photosynthetic organisms include micro and macroflora, grasses and algae and other phytoplanktons. Heterotrophs would include worms, oysters, and crabs, and other fish species. Many marine invertebrates and fishes are also found here. And human impact, filling, dredging, and pollution from upstream eventually disrupt the estuaries downstream worldwide. So similar to other aquatic biomes, their number one issues would be pollution coming from human activities. Coral reefs are exclusively found in marine waters. This is a home for a lot of aquatic animals. So this would include all sorts of fishes or different species of fish, invertebrates, sea stars, urchins, planktons, and other forms of producers. Now, this is an important thing to note. If tropical rainforest, if you still remember our lesson about it, is considered the most diverse or the terrestrial biome with the highest biodiversity or the highest number of plants and animals, its aquatic counterpart would be the coral reef. So, coral reef is the most diverse aquatic biome. Okay? So they have the most number of organisms or species of organisms than any other biomes, aquatic biomes. This is from Arizona State University, Ask a Biologist. So they say that marine biomes are the largest biome is the largest biome in the world, as it includes the 5 major oceans that cover 70% of the earth. So being marine water, they have high levels of salt. Okay, that's why they're also called salt water. So the plants and animals that live here must have adaptations to survive in such environment that help them get rid of salt within from their body and take in water. So we have here a photo of a tide pool in Portugal, a tide pool. So this is an example of a marine environment. I'll provide the link to Ask a Biologist in the description below. I also recommend that you watch this video, Coral Reefs 101 from National Geographic, again linked in the description below. So this is an image of a coral reef. As you can see, it has a wide collection of different type of fish. So this is a panoramic view of a coral reef in the Indian Ocean. Okay, so many animals and many type of fish live in this coral reef. Okay, this one it says that the color of corals. Okay, so those are those organisms that you can find here depends on the combination of brown shades provided by their zooxanthellae and pigmented proteins. Okay, that gives the corals their very beautiful coloration. So here we have this a coral reef ecosystem. This includes reef building corals. So these are your corals. Corals are actually animals. Okay, so they have polyps that secrete this exoskeleton made up of calcium carbonate. So as you can see, those are those structures here. So they construct three-dimensional structure of the coral reef, carry out considerable primary production. So you have here different fish living in a coral reef. Other images would include a photo of the Caribbean coral reef here, Pacific coral reef, and Atlantic coral reef. So all of these are very beautiful examples of coral reef ecosystems. Organisms can cover every square inch of a coral reef, and they're also part of the different layers or different parts or zones of the water column. If you could still remember this zones, so neritic zone of a marine ecosystem are those parts that are found near the shore, while down the continental shelf, so you have here the pelagic, okay, or the open sea region, and they have different layers of it. So mostly coral reefs are found in the photic zone or those regions that can still be penetrated by light. Okay, while in the abyssal pelagic and downwards hidal pelagic, so very rarely will you find coral reefs here because very light does not reach these regions anymore. So these are more images. Corals, seaweeds, hydrothermal vents are found at the bottom of the ocean, and all that other species of corals. These rippling colors are millions of algae that we can find in the open ocean. So more organisms that we can find in reefs or in marine ecosystem. Sardines, jackfish, we have here whale shark, turtles, seals, and jellyfish. So in summary, coral reefs are considered the tropical rainforest of the sea. Okay? They have such high biodiversity. They are largely formed from the calcium carbonate skeletons of the corals that I mentioned a while ago. They are sensitive to temperatures. Okay, that's why they are one of the most affected of climate change. Chemical environment, they require high levels of oxygen. They require a solid substrate for attachment, or solid plane under the water. Photosynthetic organisms include algae. Okay, we've seen that. Kelps. Okay, red and green algae are also found there. Corals, they have a wide, diverse group of cnidarians, different species of fish and crustaceans and all that. Now, the most important thing to note is that collecting of coral skeletons and overfishing have reduced the population of coral reefs, because what tourists do is that they will dive and then they will collect coral reefs and bring it home as souvenirs. That is not good. Global warming and pollution. So being a body of water, coral reefs are also very prone to exposure to water pollution and its different forms. And global warming, as we've mentioned, they're very sensitive to temperature. Development of coastal mangroves for aquaculture also reduces the spawning ground of some species of fish. Now, I've mentioned now that oceans and coral reefs are sensitive to climate change, so I recommend that you watch this video, Oceans 101 from National Geographic. I'll provide the link in the description below. Now, this one is an interesting animation from Neil Agarwal entitled The Deep Sea. So this one is an animation that shows us the different organisms that you can find based on the zones of the ocean. So you can also check this out. I'll provide the link in the description below. So this is a question that I want you to think about, points to ponder. So after knowing all the different types of terrestrial and aquatic biomes, what do you think is the significance of having many kinds of biome? And which biome do you like best and why? That ends our video. I hope you learned something new. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like and share this video. Till next time, goodbye.